Hello, friends. This is Carlos Oñoro. This is another chapter of Rockspeak. Rockspeak is a space where I try to practice my English. I try to not writing anything. That's why I'm trying to record this for so many times. That well, anyway, and also, I in my mind, if you are learning English and you are at that point in your learning curve that you need to consume content in English, I can be an option because I'm not that fast and I'm not native. So this could be an in between. And then we can talk about stuff that we like. This time I have to say three things are bugging me, and I want to exercise this out of my mind because they are so important to me. The first thing is the playlist. This series from Netflix, telling the story of Spotify going into fiction because the series goes to the future. This series is very very interesting because it has 6 chapters, and every chapter is dedicated to the vision, to the perspective of one of the of not people, but from every side of the business. So from the creator, the guy who said, I'm gonna fix this, I want to try to make people pay for the file sharing, to put it some way, which is the main problem. Also, from the point of view of the guy who believed in the idea, the investor. Also, from the music executive, the major label music executive, in the middle of the problem, trying to solve their the problem they were having, the hole in their business model against Pirate Bay and all this free file sharing. Also, there is the lawyers, those who represent the interest of the rights of the songs and how they saw the business and what was necessary for the business to begin, even if their idea wasn't theirs. Also, from the side of the main programmer, although the idea creator was a programmer himself, this is a very complicated solution that deals with a lot of technology, and you had to have the user experience fast enough, and you had to be creative. So there's top-notch A-players programmers within the Spotify team, and these people who have a lot of power, and that power is from the mind, from the creation, from the knowledge. They have very interesting visions of about the influence of what they do, or the fingerprint they want to, the footprint they want to leave in the world, in society, and also from the side of the artist. Really nice series. I have to say, it is a good watch. Really nice, and if you like music and if you are in the business, you need to see it. The other thing that is bugging my mind is the news that we hear from Spotify, saying that they are ingesting 100,000 tracks a day, and that has to stop because the business is not viable that way. And I try to believe that, but But if you know that with $5, meaning $60 a year, you can host 4,000 songs a year, and people is paying per song or per album from 20 to 50, then those numbers doesn't, yeah, they don't ring. And I have to say, it is true that streaming companies do not take tracks directly. They take them from aggregators, people that take that money that I'm talking about and distribute the tracks to the streaming services. Who are the owners of these services? Well, today they say the Orchard is Sony's music. Has been bought by Sony, I guess. But anyway, people, and when I say people, is all the artists that don't sound, that won't sound, or will not do a scratch in the big bounty of rights. Those 100,000, maybe 9,900,000 tracks a day, those are paying. So anyway, having in mind that money, and thinking that only Spotify is selling 9,300 million euros. Of course, 30% for them, or a third. So we're talking about 3,500 million, 3,500. Hosting the music can't be 10%. And yeah, I have to say, I don't like that, because when I read, and if you are not into the business, if you don't know the numbers, you would say, yeah, poor guys, Of course, Spotify has been declaring losses every year, and I understand they had to advance rights. They get money to pay in advance to convince the powerful catalogs to be with them in time. Yeah, but rights are deductible. And the solution, which is a really nice piece of creativity with several patents, that solution is making money. So, or in the future, when those rights are deducted, in the future, maybe there will be another loan that is going to be paid in time. But what I'm saying is, the 30% they get, you have a cost. Of course, you have a cost. But yeah, I don't know. You can't blame smaller artists, because smaller artists are also taking the beating on the way music is distributed, or the rights are distributed. Of course, streaming services are not to blame, and this is something I would have to explain. The streaming services are like logistics, the UPS of music business right now. The truck drivers, the messengers, they take the digital file from a controlled place, and they send it to the person who is consuming them. And that's it. They keep the accounting. They declare, they collect, they take their part, their share, which is Some say 30%, some others say a third. 30% is different than 33%. So anyway, and then the 70 or the 66% goes to the entities entitled to exploit rights on their or other people's behalf. So yeah, the main thing here, and it's the inspiration of the chapter 6 in the series of Netflix, is the artist side. An artist that is locally popular, widespread everywhere, is not making money from their tracks. And with time, although their music is being heard, nothing happens. There's no money in that. And something happens, sometimes even though you are popular in the streaming services, you are not selling tickets. And if you don't sell tickets, you're done. Because your music, if it's heard in a limited way, you won't make any money. And I would like to explain why. Because nobody has. I have to say, the music business, even the streamers, hasn't been clear. They haven't explained exactly what's happening. They have omitted to use plain English, plain words and numbers to explain why out of 100% of artists on the digital platforms, 99% are making less than minimum wage. And this speaks tons. Only 1% of the music of the artist within the streaming services servers are making more than minimum wage. And the percentage of people doing $1,000 is even, unpresentable. So, I'm sorry, $1,000 a month. Okay? So there is a very, very short explanation for that. There's only one streaming service that have said, hey, we know this is the problem. You know what? Let's switch to this. And they published it in a very little dimension that I don't think they really mean it. If something happens one day, they would say, hey, we did that. We tweeted that once and we have an initiative, but, we're not that powerful or something like that. It was Deezer. We have to remember Deezer is French. And although France is a country of 40,000 people, 40 million people. Let me check. What's the population of France? 1 second. Yeah, France has 67 million people. But you have to see they are a colonial country and there are 800 million people speaking French. So let's say Deezer is big, really big in those countries. So these guys went straight and said, the solution to this is paying by subscriber. This is something I have to explain first. But the rest of the companies, the rest of the streaming services, they have totally ignored any possibility to explain exactly what's happening. And what they have invented is a system where the fan sends money direct to the artist. So what they're doing is trying to say, okay, it is a bit bad business for them, and there's nothing you can do. You care about your artist, okay? Here you can send him money, you know, and that is an attitude so bad attitude that I'm speechless, and I have to say first, it is not the streamers. The streaming services are not to blame. It doesn't matter how much they sell, they have a cut. They get their third or their 30%, and that's it. The problem really is the money that goes in rights to be distributed. And the explanation of the way it is divided, it is also logical. And if you don't think about it deeply, you will say, hey, this is fair. So what they do is they divide the world in countries, in territories. And then what they say is this: okay, how many songs did we play that were played for more than 30 seconds? And you take that number. Okay, how much money did we get in income for those songs? And they sum up that. I think they also do that with the publicity budget. They add it to the equation. And you have a bag full of a number of songs played, and you have a bag with the money they collected, the net money, to put it some way. And what they do is really easy. They take the money and divide it by the number of plays they had. If your song has been played only once, well, you will get the money divided into the number of plays. Right? If your song has been played, let me give you an example. Let's say 1 million songs were played in Colombia in 1 month. And from that million, 500,000 were the plays of La Gota Fria, played by Carlos Vives. That means that Carlos has 50% of the money they collected. And it sounds fair. Let's say Carlos had the 50% and Maluma had the 25% of all plays. So Maluma gets the 25% of the money. Then we are missing only the 25%. And the 25% is distributed between the rest of the songs. And this is a little bit extremist, but more or less that is what's happening. If an artist is heard a lot, they get most of the money. And that sounds logical. And it sounds so logical that this is the way to go. But wait there. That doesn't mean that's fair. And also, that doesn't mean it complies with commerce, common sense, or laws. And why do I say that? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say you are in Colombia and you are listening to one song, and it happens to be the first day of the month. Let's say 1st of November. And you listen to Vestido de Cristal, a song from Kraken. You start Vestido de Cristal, and at the end of the song, a thief comes to you, shows you a knife, and says, "Hey, motherfucker, give me that phone. Your phone or your life." And of course, you say, okay, don't worry. Take my phone. Take it. And the guy goes away. He turns the phone off. He doesn't care about music. And you only have money to get another phone a month later. So what happened there? Let's say you paid $10 for Spotify, but you only listened to one song. Vestido de Cristal by Kraken. Let's say in that particular month, everybody else forgot about Vestido de Cristal. And you were the only one listening to Vestido de Cristal. And let's say in Colombia in November, there were 1 million songs played. All right. So you paid $10 for your Spotify. $3 are for Spotify, and $7 are to be distributed in rights. Okay. How much money does Kraken get? If you only listen to one song, Vestido de Cristal, and you pay 10 and 3 are for Spotify, and 7 are in rights, does Kraken gets $7? Or the guys with the right to exploit that get $7? And the answer is no. In fact, although you heard only that song and you paid for it, to put it some way, if you were the only one listening to it, from the $7, Kraken will get a millionth. So you divide $7 by a million times. And that's the money they get. It doesn't matter if that's the only thing you consumed. And that is pretty weird. You go to a restaurant, even to all-you-can-eat restaurants. If you eat everything from those colored shrimps that you only like, the owner have to pay for them and to replenish. But this is not the case. You consume that and the money goes somewhere else. To who? To artists you maybe don't listen to in your life. And that is happening as we speak with metal, with classical music, with punk, with jazz, with every independent genre in the world. While you listen to The Exploited, while you listen to Epica, while you listen to even Iron Maiden, while you don't listen to J Balvin, Shakira, or Ed Sheeran, or all those top artists, if you are not that kind of person, if you have your own thing, but you have a tribe of people spread around the world, for example, the fans of Iron Maiden in the world, of Metallica fans out in the world, while they listen to Metallica, more than 50% of the money that they pay goes to artists they don't play, goes to artists they don't listen to. Wow. And this is not a speculation. This is the result of that equation I told you about, the bag full of money and the bag full of plays. And there's something even worse. There are artists that are local, and there are artists that are global, right? The artists getting all the money are those artists that are global and local everywhere. You know? Global and local everywhere, those are the winners. They have, let's say, 2 turbos in their income. They have a turbo on the regions and they have a turbo on the place, because it doesn't matter if someone doesn't play their music. as they are being played more than anyone, that money goes to them too. Now, let's yeah, let's study the case of artists who are global but are not top. For example, metal bands. In every country, there is a metal fan. And metal fans listen to the same artists. So we have Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden could have more plays than any local artist. But as local artists have a turbo on their play, every country Iron Maiden is played, the money they should be getting goes to local artists that have more plays than them. So they are big. They can do the round of the world several times. But the plays in Spotify or streaming, they won't reflect what exactly they should be getting because they are being step foot. They have been stopped by this equation. And I have to tell you, this is very, very dangerous because that's how you disappear creativity. Today, you get artists that can play, not those who really want to or have the talent. Of course, there's always in the history of humankind, talent in one side and the money is somewhere else, you know? But what's happening now is that the money somewhere else is not around easily or easier than before. And the talent cannot survive that easy as before. So independent phenomena like niche crowds who are really loving into artists that mean a lot to them, if you listen to them, you're not sure you're doing something. You're not sure you are funding them because the money indistinctly is going to other artists. And let me remind you, this doesn't happen with rock or hard rock or heavy metal, black metal, death metal. This goes like this for punk, for catalog too, for artists who are not number one, but who are global. They are being beat up by the local stars everywhere. So they're getting reduced everywhere because they don't zoom the place worldwide. They have territories. And that's the way you beat up the catalog. The great artists, the greatest artists who are not number one now, even though they have a lot of plays, their plays are, how can you say, watered down because they are submitted to the local tendency. And you know, yeah, let's say local artists should rule within territories. But how come if I don't listen to one artist, my money goes to them? That is, I mean, that part, when you pay for something and the money goes somewhere else to the product that you are consuming, if you find me that within a commerce law, I'm sure it is not written. I mean, it's illogical. And I have to say, we are late because this thing that is happening is making not only artists, but complete record labels being sold to technology companies. Because there is also another reason why the system is like this. No matter if you pay $10 for your subscription, if you listen to more music than the rest of the people, you can mean more money to an artist. To make a long story short, if you play more songs than average, you are taking money from other subscribers, and you funnel it to main artists. And that is a little trick. And I don't want to. Yeah, there are businesses out there that sell that profit from that. So there is a bad equation. There is a segmentation that is really bad and unfair, and also there is a business profiting from that. Meaning, it will be difficult that to disappear only until the job is done. Because even saying this, the money goes to the same companies. You mean this? I mean, this change that has to be done, that the money someone pays goes to the music they listen to. It doesn't matter. It has to be like that. That doesn't change the income for the major labels, because they take their part, because they represent the rights. What happens is the money goes to newer artists they promote. And newer artists have most convenient contracts, less royalty to give. They are controlled. So they can funnel the income towards the place they want to. And that is something that can only be explained with the reasons I just gave you. But none of them, even the streamers, have had the decency of explaining. And that is not a good attitude. I would say that's not an honor position. I have to say that is not an ethical position. It is a public explanation. It is there for you to do your numbers, but you have to interpret them. And they're not doing it. And they are burning years. They are burning expression. They are burning even part of the social outlet of expression, which is to me gravest. And that is a reflection of their attitude and what they are ready for. And that's how we get to a different place. That gives me the third thing that is in my throat. I'm like, oh man, I have a rock in my throat, because I've been seeing also this great star. I didn't know a single song before the scandal. This artist, which is the 19th artist in Spotify, meaning every time I hear a song of Iron Maiden, that fucker has a piece of my money, even if I don't listen to him. It's like that. But this artist, a billionaire, they say, someone who, like Rihanna, has another business and they are idolized by their people. This guy, a weird guy to put it some way, because he says a lot of things from his genius. He tries to express, and although he expresses himself very clearly, media still wants to put meaning into his words so he can be stopped. And I have to say, that's what's happening. Apparently, Kanye West is being, for some reason, maybe the power he has, although he's been dealing with mental health issues, but Kanye West published contracts in his social networks where he describes and denounced. I don't know if the word is unfair, because those papers are signed, and apparently law allow people to do these kind of deals. But he's being outspoken about the injustice of the contracts artists and celebrities in sport even are suffering. And he wants to be a champion of that. And he is risking a lot to stand on what he believes. And he has said that he had to be DEFCON against these Jew people or something like that. So apparently what he had to say was that he had to be ultra defensive to react against the executives of those companies who has to deal with in the music business, and I don't know if in the business in general. And that had a unison reaction from media and also some of the business, trying to communicate, to interpret publicly that he was being Semitic. And that has been a big scandal. He's being canceled also from business. For example, his bank didn't want to have his money anymore. Adidas, the company that manufactured his brand, also is banning him or something like that. And he's been public to explain that most of his best friends are Jewish, and that he's clearly not talking about people in general, but high executives in the companies he had to deal with. And you know what? The other day I was trying to make sense of what he was saying, and you can easily Google questions. For example, what is the percentage of population of the Jewish community in the world? And you will find less than 1% and 2% in the US. 2%. But you have to see, Jewish community has given humanity a lot of knowledge. For example, 40% of the Nobel Prizes have been granted to Jewish people. So how come less than 0.5% of the population is represented in the 40% in the highest valuable discoveries? You know, that is the size of the doings of the Jewish community. At the same time, from the Forbes 400, the richest people in the US, 134 are Jewish, meaning also, again, 40%. So from the 2% in the US, 40% have are the people with more money. And of course, in Hollywood and also in the major labels and the business, and there's, yeah, they represent a big percentage of the people in charge, of the high executives. And of course, Kanye West had to deal with them. I don't know exactly what is the intention of this banning. Because if you have power, you can't pretend being classified. You can't pretend being the victim. And I have to say, that won't end happily. I mean, I don't think they will be able to cancel totally Kanye West from misinterpreting what he's saying. And there's people out there trying to send a message. For example, I read something I don't like because it has other meanings, other implications. But a Jewish saying, you know what? I don't care about Kanye West, and I'm Jewish. But I don't think he's being anti-Semitic, but anti-Zionist or something like that. And I have to say, if the Jewish community has the business controlled, the media controlled, Hollywood controlled, the banks, if they are acting this way to cancel a person who said something, but they are trying to give his words a flavor. We're in 2022. People is not stupid. Kanye West said something with Pierce Brosnan. This guy, he dedicated like 2 hours to an interview, and he said, you know what? Before anything, they have to read out loud all these contracts in music, in sports, and wow. And it's something similar to what's happening with the information about the way rights are distributed in music. These guys go out saying, you know what, we're taking so many tracks, this is going to break us. We're not going to be viable if we don't stop this. Or the company saying, we sell 9,300 million euros, but we lose money every day. Or, okay, you want to do something for your artist? Yeah, send money direct. Or simply not explaining how come when I listen to artist A, my money goes to artist B. That's nonsense. That is something. I am a man of peace. I am a man who believes first that there is always a misunderstanding, but this 12-year misunderstanding with everybody, including record labels, independent record labels, are bleeding out, and the only solution is selling off to people with zero musical knowledge or control of the business just because they have some Linux tricks. This is not fair. This is not a fair game, and we're talking about a business. So, although all those things that are happening are so related, so similar in attitude, that I wonder what is needed for this to be solved in the good way. Deezer have already said, you know what, we should do this. We should pay by subscriber, you know, and that is the only fair way. It's the only way. If you listen to artist A fills your pocket. There's no other way. Any other way is not only unfair. I have to put it like this. I have to stop here. And I have to say, I don't think I would be canceled. I have to say, the other day, Kanye West said, I envy Jewish people. And he explained a little bit why. And let me tell you, envy is a bad feeling. I mean, I don't think I would describe it what I feel. I have to say I admire all the Jewish people that has crossed my path, because although they are human like me, they have been exposed to some kind of knowledge or fundaments that gave them stronger tools. I don't know. I haven't been that close, but I have to say that we should be able to know, to hear, to listen to their wisdom. And I say it, I think about David, a friend of mine, Daniel. I know some, and of course, we're talking about something else. We're talking about a business being intruded and mined from within to destroy what it used to be. And this is not a technological change, no. Because technology would bring wealth to everyone. If you want to generate wealth, if your product generates wealth, solves a problem, that business doesn't need to take money. That has to go there to here. That's impossible. I hope this message to be heard. I have to say, I recorded in the past something describing exactly what I just did, but it had no echo, no power. But I will do that for a second time, and maybe if you are there listening to what I say, give it a thought. I hope you are powerful. I wonder how much is powerful enough to let the other be. Or let me ask you, does that exist? Let the other be? Okay, my name is Carlos. This was Rockspeak today. I'm sorry, I was a little bit I don't know. I'm really I'm pissed off. Well, let's say not pissed off. I am, as I know all this for a long time. And it comes back and it comes back, and I see it every day and everywhere, and things are getting worse in the music side of the independent music. There's something has to happen. Something. Because there will be a point where music won't represent us anymore. Okay, that's it. I love you. Yeah, and this was Rockspeak. Have a great one.